And on to the details now. U.S. Special Envoy Steve Witkoff is set to meet with Russian leadership in Moscow on Wednesday ahead of President Donald Trump's deadline to impose fresh sanctions on Russia for its ongoing conflict in Ukraine. Trump has given Russia until Friday to halt its offensive or face new penalties. The move would aim to stifle Russian exports but would risk a significant international disruption. The visit comes after Trump said that 2 nuclear submarines he deployed following an online row with former Russian President Dmitry Medvedev were now in the region.
Clearly, the president's not happy with Mr. Putin and Russia, but he remains committed to diplomatic solutions. I would say that we've also seen a remark, perhaps a reflection of possible secondary sanctions regarding the sale of oil, people who are countries that are buying Russian oil. And that has been openly discussed by the president. But when it comes to things that are decided, we would wait for the president to say that.
Whereas Trump said on Tuesday that he would await the outcome of the Moscow talks before moving forward with any economic retaliation.
We'll see what happens over the next fairly short period of time. But we'll see what happens. You know, they have a meeting tomorrow. We have a meeting with Russia tomorrow. We're going to see what happens. We'll make that determination at that time.
While Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov said on Wednesday that improving relations between Russia and the United States will take time, referring to the prolonged absence of a meeting between President Vladimir Putin and U.S. President Donald Trump, Peskov in his remarks to a news agency said that it takes time for efforts to bring bilateral relations back onto a normal track, but there is inherent delays in this process. Early on Tuesday, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky had a productive call with his U.S. counterpart Donald Trump. Both leaders discussed the Russia-Ukraine conflict, sanctions on Russia, and the finalization of a U.S.-Ukraine drone deal. Taking to social media X, Zelensky said that President Trump is fully informed about Russian strikes on Kyiv and other cities and communities, referring to intensifying drone and missile attacks. And for more on this, we have Akshay Dongre joining us. Well, Akshay, given the high-stake nature of this visit and the looming sanctions deadline especially, and U.S. saying Trump remains committed to diplomatic solution also, what strategic leverage does the U.S. hold in these negotiations and what can we expect from the talks?
Well, as far as strategic leverage is concerned, then clearly economy being the biggest weapon of Donald Trump, with its market being vast. A lot of consumers, so a lot of consumption of goods as well. And that's what Donald Trump is, that's all the bargaining chips that he has, the economy and the large market. And now, we have seen that the kind of tariffs that he has been talking about because the wealthy consumers of the US can buy stuff from outside, and the government can also do trade deals with other countries. But the problem, you have to realize that they will not remain rich for a very long if you severe ties with all the countries, implement tariffs, and then push the entire economy into a doldrum. So that's the situation. However, if you look at the situation that's prevailing right now, then clearly Steve Witkoff going to Russia is also Donald Trump's last-ditch effort to have a backdoor diplomacy. On the face of it, he has been, making a lot of tall claims. He cut the tariff deadline given to Russia by half. It was cut to about 50 days. The deadline expires on 8th of August. So just ahead of the expiration of the deadline, it's clear that Donald Trump wants to make just last appeal that, on the face of it, while the bravado remains, but still he wants to do a deal with Russia. It was his major pitch, even during elections, that he will make peace between Russia and Ukraine, and he will also, establish trade links with Russia, because even US realizes that, if Russia becomes a trade partner with the kind of rare minerals it has, right, US can become unstoppable. So there is not much strategic leverage except the economy, and that is something Russia realizes very well.
All right, Akshay. Also, how might the outcome of these Moscow talks affect not just U.S. but U.S.-Russia relations, but also Ukraine's security calculus? If you talk about, especially in the light of President Zelensky's recent statements and the pending U.S.-Ukraine drone deal.
Well, it seems that Zelensky has become quite ambitious as far as support is concerned. So it's not only that he is now expecting support; he's demanding support, and he's ordering that the other Western countries should be doing this. It's sort of a back to the Cold War rhetoric that Russia is a big evil empire, and then it's coming to get you. It's coming to get the Europe. It's coming to get the European powers, and ultimately it will also attack the US. So we are, the first one in the line. We are at the front line, so we are suffering. That's not the case. It's a historic, conflict that's taking place between Russia and Ukraine. It had nothing to do with the fear-mongering that now even Ukrainian leadership has started to do with the expectations that it will gather the country more support while the country remains destroyed in several fronts. But there is still a lot left to save. But it seems that with the kind of warmongering that's happening from Ukraine's side, but if the Western powers give in to the demands of Zelensky, there will never be an end to the conflict as we are seeing it today.
All right, Akshay, thank you so much for all those details.